Hi everyone, and welcome back to another Jacko the Soccer Bro video. I know it's been at least a month since I've made a video, but I had a few big ideas and stuff planned for upcoming videos, and we've also been pretty darn busy with Zoe right here. So I don't think you guys have met her yet. Say hi. She wants you to subscribe too. Can't say no to a pupper, I don't think. I mean, probably can. So yeah, this is Zoe. She's pretty new here, and let's get into the video today. I hate pickles. Jack puts this one by Max, past to Colin, and throws by Max, goes up for the sling. Alright, so today's video, you guys, we're going to be going through my F1 2021 predictions for how the season is going to go and stuff. I'll start off with the constructors, and then I'll move into drivers, because I feel like, the constructors is more clear-cut on where everybody's going to go, at least in my opinion. My uneducated, watching the sport for 1 year opinion. So, yeah, hopefully it isn't awful, and we'll look back at it again at the very end of the year, see where I went right and wrong. So, let's get into it. Starting off, number 10 in the constructors, we have Haas. I mean, 2 rookie drivers for this year, Nikita Mazepin and Mick Schumacher. I don't see much hope for them going up anywhere, especially since they have been on the decline for the last year or 2 or so. So because of that, I have them at 10. And number 9, moving up from the last few years, is Williams. They've been on a really good upward trajectory after they just fell off the face of the earth a few years ago. And especially with George Russell, he's just too good. I have him doing really well this year, finally getting his first Williams points. And Nicholas Latifi, I think he's going to improve. I don't think he's as bad as everybody says he is, especially since it was his rookie season, even though for some reason it didn't really feel like a rookie year compared to, year before that when we had Russell, Albon, and Lando all together. So coming in at number 8 on the constructors, we have Alfa Romeo. They're a solid, steady team. Not much improvement or decline, it seems like, for a while, from even their Sauber days, way back from before I was watching the sport. And with Kimi Räikkönen and Antonio Giovinazzi, they're solid. There's no problems with them at all. I feel like 8th is just right in the middle ground of where they can go. They could go higher, could go lower, but 8th place is where it's going to be. Number 7, same team as it was last year. We have AlphaTauri, who I feel like Pierre Gasly he's going to outperform the car again. I don't see him getting another win, though, in this car, unfortunately, even though that was so amazing to watch last year's Monza Grand Prix. And Yuki Tsunoda, rookie season is hard to tell, but I feel like he's going to do the best out of all of the rookies this year. So we have them at number 7. Number 6, we have Alpine, formerly Renault, and I feel like they're going to take a little bit of a step back this year, especially losing Daniel Ricciardo, who, I mean, it's Ricciardo. He was really good the last few seasons, and if Ocon, his car actually works for half the races this year, he's going to improve there, especially since he looked like a steady driver last year when he was able to race. And the biggest question mark of this team right now is definitely Alonso. And coming back from, 2 years out of F1, the first half of the season is going to be rough for them for sure, but maybe the second half can improve, but I don't really think so, so I have them at number 6. Moving up to number 5, we have Aston Martin, formerly known as Racing Point, formerly known as Force India. It seems like they're changing their name every 3 years or something ridiculous like that. I feel like they're taking a big step down this year from where they were last year. Lance Stroll, he actually showed great signs of just improvement from his first seasons with Williams, especially. Those were awful. And then the second half of the year, I don't remember when the turning point was. I think it was Monza. Maybe not. I don't know. Somewhere around there where something happened and he couldn't perform for the rest of the year. Hopefully he can snap out of that streak. And then I'll talk more about Seb later on when I get into the drivers' picks. Moving up now, number 4, I have Ferrari. I feel like they really are going to improve this year, especially bringing in Carlos Sainz. Charles Leclerc, he's amazing. You can't get much better of a driver than that. It's between him, Verstappen, Russell, and Hamilton for best 4 drivers, in my opinion, right now, easily. And I feel like they're going to improve a little bit. Sainz is going to hopefully push Leclerc a little bit more than Seb did last year. And they're just going to be improving, but not as much as they would want to. But it's better than nothing, really. And then number 3, we have McLaren. I feel like switching out Sainz for Ricciardo is, I don't think it's an improvement, but it isn't getting worse either. I feel like they're going to stay pretty much at the same level where they were. They're, especially since last year, Sainz and Lando Norris, they were so solid. Like, they rarely ever DNF'd, and except for the occasional engine issues, which seems to be a thing with the Mercedes engines from last year, especially with Sergio Perez. So hopefully, since they're switching into the Mercedes engine this year, they won't have that situation happen to them. If that doesn't, they're a solid lock for 3rd, I would say. And then moving up now into Red Bull, they switched out Albon for Sergio Perez this year, which, as much as I am an Albon fan, Perez is definitely the upgrade. He's going to perform a lot more consistently in the car, but I still feel like the second driver's curse is just going to be there at Red Bull. I don't know how Perez can change that. He's a great driver, don't get me wrong, but Verstappen is way outperforming the car. At least that's what we think. That's what it looks like. I have them at number 2 this year. Perez is going to be an upgrade, but still not enough to challenge number 1 Mercedes. Of course, Lewis Hamilton's coming back this year, probably for a few more years. I don't think he's going to retire anytime soon. He is, he's Lewis Hamilton. You can't win the Drivers' Championship 7 times without being good. And so, I mean, yeah, you can say it's the car all you want, but you can't have the car without the driver. And that, unfortunately, brings us to Valtteri Bottas, probably his last year with Mercedes. And he's the best second driver anybody could ask for, unless you're looking to really push other teams. But if you're where Mercedes are, Bottas is all they need. He's just going to be right behind Hamilton, 5-6 seconds consistently, and holding down P2 for every single race, really. And there we go. Recap through it all. We got number 10 Haas, number 9 Williams, 8 Alfa Romeo, 7 Alfa Tauri, 6 is going to be Alpine, 5 is Aston Martin, 4 is Ferrari, 3 is McLaren, 2 is Red Bull, and of course, winning it again for who knows how many years is this, 8 or 9 in a row, we have Mercedes. All right, now on to the potentially more controversial part of this whole video, the driver standings. Coming in at dead last number 20, should be no surprise to anybody, we have Nikita Mazepin. Nothing more needs to be said about that. Number 19 now, I also have the other Haas driver, Mick Schumacher. Just from what we've seen, F2 and that kind of thing, he has that first year where it looks pretty darn raggedy kind of thing, and then the second year, he's, oh, hey, would you look at that, this kid can drive again, no way. Which we all know he can, he's an extremely talented driver for sure. Hoping he does well, but in the Haas, I don't think he can, especially for the first year, just because they're not looking the hottest to begin with. So number 18 now, we have Nicholas Latifi. I think he's going to improve. I think he's going to get a point or two, but not more than that. This year is going to be another developmental year for him. Hopefully he can improve a good amount, because I am a Williams fan myself, mostly because of George Russell than anything else. But I have him there. A little bit of improvement, but not too much, nothing special coming out of him this year. And then number 17, I have Kimi Räikkönen. I feel like Giovinazzi is going to outperform him just a little bit. Maybe not even in the race, like the qualifying in races kind of thing, but he's just going to get the odd point more often than Kimi, and usually not by anything Kimi can do. So I have him in 18th or 17th, and then Giovinazzi is going to be in 16th, right above him, just because I feel like those two are such a solid connection as a team. They won't really separate much at all. They're both going to be right at around the same, let's go with 8 to 10 point mark going up into this year. And then now one of the biggest changers from the last 2 years into this one, at 15, we have George Russell. I'm really hoping he can finally get those maiden points as a Williams driver before he switches to Mercedes for 2022. Because we all know that's going to happen. I mean, Bottas is, I don't know how Mercedes can keep him unless Hamilton forces it, which I don't think he will. So George Russell, he's going to really improve, and more so than he has been, which is hard to see happening because he's been so good in that Williams car, except for the occasional collapse when he's in a points finish situation, which that's going to change this year. I'm 100% sure of that. It's going to change this year. He's going to get those points, and it's going to be a good year for Williams as a whole. Now, moving up into P14, I have Yuki Tsunoda. I feel like he's going to be all right in that AlphaTauri car, but I don't have the most faith in it. I feel like because that win Pierre got last year, we're really going to overhype them this year as a team, because both the drivers I feel like are solid, but the car is questionable for me unless they can really improve and prove me wrong, which I kind of hope happens, because I have like Pierre and Yuki, nothing against them. They're both great drivers, and I want to see them do good coming up into the next few years. Moving up into number 13 now. This one is going to be probably controversial for most of you F1 fans out there. I have Fernando Alonso. I feel like for the first half of the year especially, it's going to be really rough. I don't know how anybody could take 2-3 years off of a sport and then come back and be the same person that they were. What would it be? That would be 15 years ago, back when he was winning in 05, 06 kind of thing. I don't see that happening this year. I feel like especially second half, there might be a little bit of improvement. There should be a lot of improvement, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I also think that Alpine, just with the rebranding and everything, is going to be going down from the Renault status they were last year. I don't see good things coming from that team overall. And then right above Alonso, I have Lance Stroll, who I'm really hoping he proves me wrong here, but I want him to be consistent, but I don't think he will be. Because we saw it last year. He started it off kind of shaky. Middle of the season really improved, was consistent points finishes, and then second half he just fell off a cliff, really. And his performances declined. Everything after that pole in Turkey, I want to say it was rough. And hopefully that can change this year, but I don't think so. Number 11, we have Esteban Ocon. I feel like also in the Alpine, it's the same situation as Alonso. He has to, if he can finish a race this year, he should be a little bit better than where he is on the constructors, but I don't see that happening. With the rebrand, I just don't see them improving as a team. Nothing he can do about that. I feel like he's a solid driver, but P11 is where I have him at. And then up into 10th now, we have Pierre Gasly. I feel like he's going to outperform that AlphaTauri car. Who knows? He might get a second win this year, but we don't think so. I wouldn't count on it at all, unless that one guy at the Monza race that bet 50 cents or something on the podium and managed to get it right. And he's a great driver. I don't know what happened in Red Bull. It's probably just the second driver's curse kind of thing. But P10 is where I have him. Solid driver, mediocre car. That's right at the bottom of the start, like bottom, middle, midfield kind of thing. I feel like that's a good place for him to be in the AlphaTauri car. Moving up now, Carlos Sainz, new at Ferrari. I feel like this year he will be an improvement from Vettel last year for Ferrari, but I don't it's Ferrari, man. Who knows where they're going to be? They're supposed to be one of the front runners, but just last year especially, oof. I mean, Charles Leclerc can only do so much with the tractor, as it's called. And I have him at 9th. He's going to be solid this year. He's going to be a lot more reliable and consistent than Seb was last year. Coming in at number 8, I have Sebastian Vettel. I feel like his good old days, back at Red Bull I feel like they're gone. I want to be proven wrong on this one more than any other situation with the drivers here, but I don't think it's going to happen for him. I feel like this might be one of his last few years in the sport, just because he's had such a decline with Ferrari, which it's hard to blame him for, considering how Ferrari's gone down the same trajectory as him. But hopefully he improves, but I just don't see it happening. His consistency is not there. He had that great performance in Turkey last year, but it's P8 for Sebastian Vettel this year. One above him now, I'm going to have his old Ferrari teammate, Charles Leclerc. I feel like in the Ferrari, that's going to be the best he can do. He might be able to get up into P6 or so, but I don't think it's going to happen for him. He's an amazingly talented driver, but that Ferrari team is not doing him any favors at all. Hopefully he can, either Ferrari can fix themselves or he can find a place where he can perform at his best every single race. And then moving up one above him now, P6, this is going to be at the top 3 teams. We're going to have Lando Norris at the bottom of them all. Solid driver. One of my personal favorites is between him and George Russell, just because I started watching this sport a little too recently to understand the whole every other driver kind of thing. So I have him P6, solid, like I said. I don't see him beating Daniel Ricciardo because he's such a talented driver and he has that experience over him. But he's going to improve, for sure. He's definitely going to improve. Hopefully get a podium or 2 or 3, who knows. But, yep, P6 right there for Lando on an upward trajectory. He's looking good for his age, especially. Now, one above him, I'm going to have Sergio Perez, Checo Perez. I feel like that Red Bull second driver's curse is still going to be there, and there's only going to be so good he can do in that car, because that car is just built for Max Verstappen. And there's only so much anybody else I think could do in it, except for maybe Leclerc or Lewis. But it's going to be P5 for him. Hopefully he gets a win or so. We want to see that for him, especially after Sakir Grand Prix last year and how nice that was to see him win, despite the heartbreak that it was for Russell and Russell fans like myself. But hopefully he gets better than P5, yes, P5, but 5th is the best I can see him doing with the drivers that are above him. Now, at number 4, I feel like 4th and 3rd here, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd, really, these 3 guys can all go any which way on here, but 4th, it's going to be Daniel Ricciardo for McLaren. He's going to be like a solid driver this year. Hopefully he gets a few wins even, especially after what we saw him do in the Renault last year, which I think he was outperforming a good amount. And we want to see him do great this year because everybody loves Daniel Ricciardo. He's just the greatest personality in the whole sport for sure, unless, Kimi, maybe. But yeah, Daniel Ricciardo, P4, he's going to get quite a few podiums, maybe a win or 2 if both Mercedes and Red Bull mess up their strategies, or there could be a Spain 2016 kind of thing again, which we all want to see that. So moving up now onto the top 3 places this year. 3rd, it's going to be Valtteri Bottas for Mercedes. I feel like this is finally going to be the year that Verstappen is able to overtake him, and this is going to be it for Bottas, especially in the Mercedes. He might join another team, but I don't see that happening for him, unfortunately. Nothing against him as a person or a driver. Solid, steady, perfect second driver for any team up at the top. But I don't see him really performing up to par, which we've seen that for the last few years or so. And then coming in number 2, we're gonna have Max Verstappen. There's no beating Lewis. Lewis is gonna get that 8th this year for sure. But Verstappen now, Red Bull, he is perfect for that car, or the car is perfect for him. Who knows? And he's gonna get a few wins this year. He's going to beat Bottas. It's going to be close, though, between those two especially. It's those two and Ricciardo, like I said, could go any way on this leaderboard that I've created from my limited knowledge of the sport. So P2 for Max, he's going to get a few wins, quite a few podiums, like probably, what is it, the Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen thing? It's probably going to be Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas this year, every race, really. It's not what you want to see from a spectator's point of view, because it's just boring to watch every once in a while, except for the odd, Monza, Sakir, that kind of thing. But P2 for Verstappen, a few wins. It's going to be a great year for him, but not for Red Bull as a team. It's going to be the same thing as they've had for the last who knows how long. And now, of course, number 1, 8th world championship win for Lewis Hamilton. He's going to just run away with it again this year. No stopping him. He's too good of a driver, too good in that Mercedes car. That is just too good for the rest of the field, especially with him behind the wheel in there. Who knows if he's going to stay around for 2022 and beyond. I think he will, I feel like it's just about as long as Toto is there on the team. Lewis is going to be right there with him. And that's going to wrap it up for this one. Back up from the bottom to top, we have Nikita Mazepin, Mick Schumacher, and then Nicholas Latifi, and then above them, the two Alfa Romeo boys with Kimi Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi, and then 15th, George Russell. Then we got Yuki Tsunoda, Fernando Alonso, Lance Stroll, and then Esteban Ocon, Pierre Gasly, Carlos Sainz, Sebastian Vettel, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, and then Sergio Perez, Daniel Ricciardo, Valtteri Bottas, Max Verstappen, and of course, winning again, Lewis Hamilton. If you guys enjoyed the video, just be sure to subscribe. Check out some of my other videos I've made. I've done 2 other F1 type videos in the past, hoping to make more of those. But the last one, it kind of tanked. YouTube didn't really share it with anybody, so hopefully you guys can watch that, enjoy it, and yeah, that's going to be about it for this one. See ya.